For the second consecutive season, the Big Ten championship game trophy belongs to the Michigan Wolverines. Undefeated, college football playoff bound, maize and blue, now one of the most fashionable colors in the world of college football. Welcome inside our Big Ten Network studios in this Big Ten Live postgame show following Michigan's 43-22 win over the Purdue Boilermakers. Rick Pizzo alongside Anthony Herron for the big show. And Anthony, Michigan set out the season with 4 goals. Beat Michigan State, check. Beat Ohio State, check. That 4th goal remains down the line as part of the college football playoff. But this was number 3 to win the Big Ten championship for a second consecutive year. They do so in convincing fashion.
Really impressive, not just the tangible of what we saw tonight from the Wolverines, but frankly the intangible. You enter this game as Michigan recognizing the college football playoff is likely there for you regardless of winning another Big Ten championship, but the importance that the Wolverines placed on winning every game this season continues. The importance they placed on being Big Ten champions yet again was shown on the field, and even though it was an undefeated path for Michigan throughout the regular season and now in the postseason play, we saw so many players step forward amidst injury, amidst performance, everything else that Michigan did face this year. We've just seen them rise above time and time again.
We will head to Indianapolis for reaction from our Lucas Oil-based crew, game analysis, interviews as well, but we begin with the game itself. Inside Lucas Oil Stadium, amazing to see Aiden O'Connell there after dealing with the family tragedy that he and his family have been going through. J.J. McCarthy, efficient and relentless throughout the course of the season, also has some weapons. Get used to hearing this name over the next couple of years. Colston Loveland, talented young tight end, goes up and gives Michigan a 7-0 lead. Ensuing Boiler drive, Tyrone Tracy, the 20-yard carry, initially ruled a touchdown down short of the goal line, but a nice spark early for the Boilermakers.
Very feisty effort from Purdue in both phases, really, but especially on offense, being able to answer.
Very next play after the respot, it's Devin Maccabee. What a breakthrough season it was for Maccabee. The touchdown ties this thing up at 7. Ooh. Second quarter, now the Boilermakers have gone on top 10-7. J.J. McCarthy has been so good this year, Anthony, when he gets outside of the pocket, and that's exactly what he does here before finding Luke Schoonmaker.
I mean, it's frustrating as a defender because you think you've got him in your sights, and somehow McCarthy extends the play. He's even better outside the pocket than he is within it. 14-13 at the break. First play of the second half is your Best Buy big play of the day, and Donovan Edwards has been doing this ever since stepping in as the lead back following Blake Corum's injury. Ohio State knows about it, and now Purdue knows about it. Rips off a 60-yarder. Kalel Mullings would score the touchdown 3 plays later. It's 21-13, and Big Ant, Edwards not done. As elusive as any back in the Big Ten, and once he gets momentum going, able to run through contact, you know he has got the jets to burn.
It is 28-13, now 28-19. Aiden O'Connell makes that critical mistake. Inside your own 20, he is picked off by Will Johnson 2 plays later. And how about this rope from McCarthy to Ronnie Bell?
Best pass he threw of the night. Well, maybe the second best pass, best completion that J.J. McCarthy had in the game tonight, though. The other one he threw to Ronnie Bell was even a little bit better.
43-22 is your final. Post-game, the victorious quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, with Allison Williams.
JJ, congratulations. You get to check another goal off of that list. How did you guys get it done today to be Big Ten champs?
I mean, everything we've done every single week, the constant preparation that was done in the off season and the execution on a weekly basis. So we're doing us, and it worked out.
This was a 1-point game at the half. What was said inside that locker room?
I mean, we've been in that situation before multiple times, and it wasn't really anything but the usual. We got 30 minutes, give it our all, and we're the best second-half team in the country, and it showed again.
I know this team misses Blake Corum. How would you describe the way that Donovan Edwards and that run game continues to produce?
I mean, it's next man up. You put anyone back there, they're going to still get yards. But Donovan, he's a special back. He's a special human being, and I'm so happy he's on our side.
How does it feel to not only be Big Ten champions, but to know the position you have put this team in for the college football playoff?
I mean, we said we were going to be back last year, and it's just amazing that we are back. And we're not going to have that same taste in our mouth from last year, that's for sure.
JJ, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
The Michigan players and Jim Harbaugh did say they would be back. Not sure the college football world believed them. Everyone is a believer now. Another strong second half as the Wolverines outscore Purdue 29-9 after the break to earn another trip to the college football playoff. Speaking of trips, let's make our first of many down to our Indy-based crew as we check in with Dave Revson and company.
Rick, thanks. The confetti's still falling here at Lucas Oil Stadium after we watched Michigan do what Michigan does, guys. The second half, they are just overpowering. This was a close game at the half, a one-point game. Michigan blowing it open. Dave Revson, Joshua Perry, Jerry DiNardo, and Howard Griffith. What stood out particularly about this performance after the break?
Well, I want to talk about what's going on right now. I mean, the celebration out here is crazy, and I think it's a little bit different than last year. The meaning of going back-to-back for this football team is huge, but when you take it onto the football field, it's exactly what you said. The second-half game plan, specifically running the football, 7.8 yards per carry in the second half. It makes all the difference, and you can look at the stat sheet. Purdue was moving the football, but Michigan's ability to run it was big, and then coming up with turnovers, too. That was huge for the Michigan defense.
Yeah, the first two drives of the second half, they were explosive, and they weren't all that explosive in the run in the first half. I really felt like they were missing Blake inside, but that wasn't true. It was the offensive line, because the second half, they ran the ball inside, and JJ on the run, I mean, he's as dangerous as any player in college football when he breaks contain and throws the ball.
He really is, and I think that's what it comes down to. And Joshua, you mentioned the turnovers. I thought the timely turnovers was huge for them because Purdue was driving, and they were able to start turning them away. And then you talk about running the football. That's what they do. You know, this is a Purdue defensive line and defense in general that played them really physical and tough, but they were able to wear them down ultimately, and they stayed with the run game and didn't get away from it when they were getting negative plays.
High-energy defense, too. I mean, their motors were going. They were playing really intense on defense, flying around.
I want to touch on what you said about J.J. McCarthy, because this kid, there's a lot that he can sharpen up about his game. But you talk about some of the best quarterbacks in college football. We watched Caleb Williams on Friday for USC, and he gives you that type of energy when he's back there. He'll get out of a mess, and then he'll make a play downfield. the couple of touchdown passes he had, going away, throwing it back across his body, you tell a quarterback not to do that, he can do it.
And he'll make a decision every once in a while that makes you wonder just a bit, but there's so much positive that comes out of it that in the end it far offsets any of the other questionable decision-making. As it is 13 wins for the Wolverines, that is a new school record. They seemingly solidify themselves as at worst the number 2 seed in the college football playoff ranking. It's unlikely that they would pass Georgia, the Bulldogs overpowering again in the SEC championship game. But this is a Michigan team that you look at and say, they've got a tried and true formula. They are wearing teams down as games go along, and you wonder whether there are other teams that can keep up with them in what will be this Final Four.
And I think it's really impressive the fact that they're 13-0 at this point. And I've been on some special teams before. It's really hard to make it to that point. It's very rare that you can run the table through the regular season, win your conference championship game. This team has a mentality right now that's really difficult to deal with because they just keep coming, and that's the most important thing in this game.
And based on today's game, Georgia should be number 1. Last week I thought Michigan should. The best thing about Georgia being 1 and Michigan being 2, they are the 2 best teams. And this gives them a chance to play for the championship in the final game.
I think this is the second year in a row. I know this is the second year in a row that they beat their rivals and had to come back and play another game afterwards, and they were able to answer the bell. There was no letdown. This is a team that's dialed in, and I'm telling you, it starts at the top with Jim Harbaugh being able to set the tempo and filters down through his coaches, and obviously the team buys into this. This is huge for this program.
That's what's so interesting, because I think we all asked that question last year going into the game against Iowa. Would they be able to get up for a second straight game? And in that one you said, well, you got a college football playoff spot on the line. They had to get up for that game. They didn't have to get up for this game. They were going to make it no matter what, but they did. And again, that speaks volumes about this team. And how good is Donovan Edwards? I mean, we talked about the run game, but let's talk about the individual. Over 400 yards now over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and as you start to look at him in the game plan, he is a guy who's dangerous because you think you got him bottled up, and then he hits that edge, and it's a home run waiting to happen. The guy has been super impressive, specifically in these last 2 games, 2 really important ones.
Howard, you probably could speak to this. Not probably, you could speak to this. This was his first start. So the difference between the first half and the second half, I'm guessing the growth for a running back who just played 30 minutes for the first time, he's going to be better the second half.
He's going to keep getting better, and particularly once that little soft pass comes off, he's going to be really good then. But what you see is you never see the first guy able to bring him down. You can have a clear shot at him, and he makes you miss in the hole. He has that type of ability to do that.
And acceleration.
Yes.
I mean, he accelerates.
Second straight Big Ten title for the Wolverines after a 16-year drought. Michigan Big Ten champions once again, number 44 all-time for the Maize and Blue.
A fairly famous Wolverine giving this Michigan team some love.
Heard of that
Charles
guy.
Woodson offering congrats, back-to-back Big Ten champs. Hashtag build your legend. Perhaps another defensive back started to build his legend tonight. Will Johnson, 2 picks defensively for Michigan in the win over Purdue. Postgame, he caught up with Allison Williams.
Will, congratulations. How does it feel to put on that hat and be standing here as undefeated Big Ten champs?
Thank you. It feels amazing. All our hard work paid off. And can't wait to celebrate my teammates and enjoy this moment.
The second half just seemed to be a different game for you guys. Your 2 interceptions came in that second half. What was different for that defense?
I think every game we come together in the second half, and I think it's just the off-season work we do. In the second half, we're just more ready than another team, really.
Yeah, the second half success continues, so you guys end this game victorious, and you position yourself very well for this college football playoff. What is the mindset of this team going forward to continue this success?
I mean, just keep working hard. We're trying to win a national championship. That's the goal.
That's the goal. Good luck, Will. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Some Michigan fans, many that were celebrating tonight, were likely concerned with no Blake Corum. No Blake, no issue, thanks to Donovan Edwards. Let's get more now from the game MVP with our crew in Indy.
Rick, thanks. We're joined by the Big Ten championship game MVP, Donovan Edwards, the running back from Michigan. Donovan, describe this feeling.
It's an amazing feeling. There's no other greater feeling than winning, a championship, one of your main priority goals. All glory to the Lord for blessing us to be able to win this game and for us to be healthy after this game. All praises to him.
What has this been like for you here these last couple of weeks to go from not really playing for a couple of weeks to being thrust into a starring role against Ohio State and then a starting role in this game with Blake now out for the season? How has this changed for you? Like, describe what you've gone through here.
Not too much, because I've prepared myself this whole season like I have been the starter. And Blake, this for you, my brother. We love you. We did this for you, and you are the reason why we are here, my brother. We love you.
Donovan, just describe to me your mentality as the game goes on, because in the first half, the yards seem like they're a little bit harder to come by. By the second half, toward the end of the game, you're ripping off long runs. It seems like you just continue to wear down defenses. How do you keep that mentality to keep playing hard throughout the game?
It's easy, just got to finish the ball game. That's it. What's it like with this offense? You're back there, you're starting to control the game, the big guys up front, and then all of a sudden you just have to go do your thing. Yes, sir. What's it been like for you during these last couple of weeks? It's easy, just like Ohio State game, like their main priority was to stop the run. And I believe that Purdue just tried to do the same thing. They're a good team, same with Ohio State. And we got talented players all over the depth chart. The offensive line, I'm going to start with the offensive line first. They create great holes, They don't quit. They always strain. They smash. That's our saying. They smash, for 4 quarters of the game. And what makes it easy, too, is teams have to respect the run game and the pass game. We got a dynamic quarterback and dynamic receivers that are able to, come up with big plays, 20-yard gains. As you can see, in the first touchdown we had, JJ threw it into double coverage to Colston Loveland, a freshman, and he mossed them both. And it's sheesh, you know what I mean? So it's just we're a dynamic team, all overall team, And credit to our defense too. They stopped them to 22 points. They kicked like field goals throughout like the second half. So we're an all overall team, and including with the special teams too. And we're just dynamic all across.
Now you got the college football playoff on the horizon. You went there last year. It seems like a lot of unfinished business for this football team. So how long do you celebrate going back-to-back in the Big Ten championship, and when do you flip the mentality now to preparing for the college football playoff?
24-hour rule, you win, congratulations. Now we got bigger goals. We talked about it all season. Like, our goals is to beat Ohio State, win a Big Ten championship, and win a national championship. So we checked off 2 of the box, and now we got to go get that third one. 24-hour rule. How close is this team to really maxing out the talent, the expectations that you have for yourselves?
We're there, like I said, we just checked the box with Ohio State, back-to-back wins, checked the box for the Big Ten championship, back-to-back wins. So, we just got to continue to do what we do, continue to be in the film room, continue to stay healthy, continue to treat ourselves. We got the best trainer, Phil Johnson, the best head trainer, Phil Johnson. So, that's all we need to do is just stay healthy, continue to praise the Lord, continue to be one with each other, continue to love each other, play with each other, and just keep winning.
Donovan Edwards leading the way for a Michigan rushing attack that went for 225 yards today, the most that Purdue has given up all season. Donovan, congratulations. Best of luck going forward. Go hang out with JJ, and thanks for giving us some of your time.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all. Go Blue.
It is good right now to be Jim Harbaugh, and the Michigan head man is addressing the media at his post-game press conference as we head back to Indianapolis and listen in.
Yeah, first I would like to thank the parents of the Michigan Wolverine players for raising such tremendous young men, not just these 2 super softs right here, but all of them. They just help us win in every way, on the field, off the field, through perseverance, character, and mostly love. It's been that kind of a team. It's beyond culture. It's a brotherhood. Just truly. I know I've talked about it being a happy mission, not a grim mission, but it's been a mission of God. And I want to thank our parents for how they've raised these youngsters. I mean, they're amazing parents. What they've poured into these young men from such an early age, esteeming them when they're young, and all the practices and everything they drove them to and took them to, and just the support and love that they give them. It's an amazing group of players, and I just want the parents to take a deep, long bow for the kind of young men that they've raised.
Okay, please raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you. Right up here in front, please, Kobe, right here.
Jim, the common thread in your big games is the big rushing yards in the second half. It's kind of off the charts. Talk about everything that goes into your running game in the second half of these big games.
Question for Coach Harbaugh.
Yeah, it's a really good game plan. It's a really good offensive line, and it's been. This guy's got 401 yards in the last 2 games. You want to talk about big games? And this guy comes alive in the big games. And Blake Corum, has been a warrior too. That same way. But those are 2 supreme backs. Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards. And this guy, when it's a big game, his whole career, whether it was high school, college now, he just hits another gear. He takes off to another level. And JJ, he does the same thing in the running game. Pretty dynamic 2 guys right there. And credit to a lot of places, But yeah, that's what I'd say. You do. That's who you are. 401 yards in the last 2 games. Amazing.
All right, question right here. Right up here in the front.
Jim just mentioned it, but JJ, could you speak to the last couple of weeks and winning without Blake and just leaning on other people to get the job done in the ground game?
Question for JJ.
It's just next man up mentality. That's something that we preach no matter who goes down or what position goes down. But at the end of the day, it's like Coach Harbaugh said, it's a brotherhood that leans on each other. And no matter what happens, no matter what adversity we face, we're always going to get through it together with that perseverance he talked about. And it just shows up week by week. I mean, yeah, it would be amazing to have Blake, and it would do wonders for us. But at the end of the day, it's next man up, and we're just going to lean on each other and get through it.
J.J. McCarthy didn't put up huge numbers in the Big Ten championship game, didn't really need to, never expected him to keep pace with Aiden O'Connell in terms of completions, attempts, or passing yardage. Perhaps the most important numbers on your screen right now, the 3 touchdowns for McCarthy, no such throws for Aiden O'Connell, who was picked off twice in this game. Let's head back to Indianapolis, the Michigan quarterback, with our Lucas Oil Stadium-based crew.
Thanks, Rick. Pleased to have J.J. McCarthy, the quarterback of the Michigan Wolverines. 3 more touchdown passes here tonight. Now 6 over the last 2 weeks. Describe what you're feeling right now after leading your team to a Big Ten title.
It's a great feeling. I mean, it's amazing to go back-to-back, but it's also that unsatisfied feeling because we've been here last year, but we didn't finish it all. So we got 2 more to go, and we're focused on that.
Okay, so what's the process here of going from celebrating this and enjoying it to now focusing on the playoff?
I mean, usually we call it a 24-hour rule, but this week we might call it a 48-hour rule. You know? We're going to enjoy this one.
Some exceptions.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're going to enjoy this one, but it's back to the drawing board once we get back to Schembechler Hall.
All right, JJ, so take me through the mentality of a quarterback. We're watching you out there. The play starts to break down. You're running wild in the backfield, and then you find a target downfield. What gives you the confidence to play like that?
Just trusting the ability in my legs and realizing that all the work that I put in the offseason to kind of gain that speed is just using it to my advantage. You know, there's defensive linemen, they're big, strong, nasty, but they're not so fast. So just being able to run away from them, and my guys get open all the time, so it's really easy after that.
One of your young receivers really stepped up and made a huge catch down here in the end zone. What's the confidence that you have in your receiving group?
I have so much confidence. I mean, every single week, no matter what it is, drops, catch, I have so much confidence because I know the type of players they are, the type of people they are, and especially that number 18. He's a special dude, and I just can't wait to see what he's doing in the future.
You talk about confidence. I mean, the ability to turn around and hand the football off, whether it's Blake, who's out now, you got Donovan back there, who's done a phenomenal job. This run game seems like it's just a mentality. 60 minutes, you're going to grind them on the ground. When you're back there and you know that your running backs are going, how do you feel?
I mean, it's a quarterback's best friend, but the running game is amazing, but it all starts with that offensive line. I mean, that offensive line is the best in the country, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, but it starts with them and just giving those special backs just the holes that they give them, it's really special.
What was the message Coach Harbaugh gave you before you guys headed out here for the second half?
Play these last 30 minutes like it's our last. Give it our all. I mean, we're the best second-half team in the country, and not much needed to be said. But Mikey Samerstill, he had a really, really powerful speech that was given in front of all of us, and that meant a lot.
You know, it's amazing you talk about the second halves, and I mean, it really is staggering. It's now 216 to 57. You have outscored your 10 Big Ten opponents. Explain to us why you're able to wear teams down in the way you are.
Coach Ben Herbert. What we do in the offseason is different than any other program, I'll promise you that, and we thrive in it. We love that. We call them fourth-quarter finishers, 150 tests. I mean, that's just what we build off of, and we thrive in those environments.
All right, J.J. McCarthy, congratulations on a fabulous season to this point. Look forward to seeing what the playoff holds for the Wolverines.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely. Let's go back to Chicago.
Talk about those second half finishes. Last week against Ohio State, 242 on the ground in the second half. Against Purdue in Saturday's championship game, 180. I'm not a mathematician. I'm not going to add them up. I can tell you it's a lot of yardage.
Yeah.
Plus turnover difference in both games, 57 points in the second half combined each of the last 2 games. Also some solid defensive performances, helped by guys like Jalen Harrell, who had just 2 tackles, but if you're going to have just 2 tackles, might as well make them both sacks. And that's exactly what Harrell did. The sack master with Nicole Auerbach.
Congratulations. What does this feel like?
Thank you. I just give all praise to God, you know what I'm saying? Really prepared all week. We had a great game plan. We executed, we persevered. We did this as a family, as a brotherhood.
Multiple sacks for you. How important was it to get pressure on Aiden O'Connell?
It was real important, you know what I'm saying? We know they wanted to throw the ball all game, you know what I'm saying? And pressure break pipes. So, we had to apply it all day, you know what I'm saying, to get to the quarterback. That's what we had to do.
What is it about this defense that you guys in the second half are just lights out? What happens in the second half of games?
You know, the first half we didn't execute as we needed to. You know what I'm saying? We got into the locker room and we made adjustments. We came together as one. You know what I'm saying? Came and finished the mission.
Do you know these guys?
These are my brothers, man. They're all my brothers, man. I love them so much.
How much are you guys going to celebrate? How much are you going to focus on the national championship to go chase?
We're going to enjoy this one tonight. Probably tomorrow too, but you know what I'm saying? A couple more days, we locked in. We ready to go get this natty. Let's go.
All right, thank you. Congratulations.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So, as you look at the top 8 seeds and what happened this weekend, obviously the bottom 4, Ohio State, Bama, Tennessee, Penn State, weren't part of their respective championship games. Georgia, Michigan solidifying their spots without question at 1 and 2. The big question comes with the 3rd and 4th teams the committee will select. USC is certainly out after its second loss, but what about TCU and Ohio State, the only 1-loss teams remaining in the country? Anthony Herron is here to help me answer that question. I start with this question. What should the playoff committee do on Sunday?
Well, we know that right now, since the top 2 teams won, they will likely stay the top 2 teams in the country. And then beyond that, who's number 3, who's number 4? You know what? The fact that Ohio State was sitting home today, I haven't really heard that be such a strong case that the world seemed upset about until this season, for whatever reason, when the Big Ten had an opportunity to maybe get multiple teams into the college football playoff. There's a precedent that's been set for this. We've seen Alabama sit at home before. Frankly, we've seen Ohio State sit at home before and then make the playoff and win a national championship. So to me, I've got zero issue with that. I do believe we'll see Georgia 1, Michigan will stay at 2. TCU, I would imagine TCU will stay at 3, and Ohio State will probably be number 4.
I read there is language in the college football playoff website that says at the end of the season, one of the committee's jobs is to attempt, if possible, to avoid late season matchups in the college football playoff. That would mean avoiding Ohio State, Michigan, making sure the Buckeyes are 4, if we assume safely that Georgia is 1 and Michigan is 2. Would you have interest in seeing a semifinal that includes both Ohio State and Michigan in the same site?
I mean, I always like seeing the Buckeyes and the Wolverines get it on. So
is it good for college football?
I mean, I've usually been a proponent of a guy with a smaller postseason is something that I've never been uncomfortable with. As we look at expansion, we know it's likely to happen at some point. So whether it's the semifinals or the national championship game, it's going to be 2 worlds collide, rival nations, primitive past, pitting years of frustration, ready for hope against all hope.
That's pretty.
It's going to be like Rocky IV.
I understand what
I'm
you're
going
for here. We will break you.